You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about Black Widow, Gambit, New Mutants, Deadpool 2, Suicide Squad 2, Ant-Man 3. Oh my god, my head's about to explode. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
How are you?
It's a case of the giggles.
I know.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Hello, Simon.
We made it through another week. Hello, Jeff.
Yes, we're still here. The Earth has not imploded.
Not yet.
The shithole Earth has not imploded. Ooh, I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Hey, look, CNN and MSNBC was saying it. Even NPR said shithole this
You
week.
got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, folks.
Absolutely.
I'm Jeff Sneider, editor-in-chief of the Tracking Board, tracking-board.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Insnider, and you're watching Meet the Movie Press. With me, as always,
Simon Thompson. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter, and my work is omnipresent right now, which is good.
That's right. Guys, we got a lot to talk about.
It's a busy week.
We got a lot to talk about.
I was thinking about this week. For the second week of January, this is an exceptionally busy week for Hollywood stuff.
Oh, yesterday, like, I think my social media guy, Johnny D,
Johnny.
shout out to Johnny D.
Johnny D.
He was like, we did 30 stories today, and there were stories yesterday I didn't get to that were big stories.
These memes aren't going to make themselves, my
There's
friend.
just so much. There's just so much news out
Yeah.
there, which is why we have to dive in relatively quickly.
Cool, let's do it.
So first,
Yep.
tell me about your Golden Globes. Let's back it up to Sunday night.
Okay. I thought it was actually a pretty good show. I thought the opening monologue was very, very good. I think Seth did a sterling job.
I thought
of
so
hosting.
too. That's a tricky thing.
Very, very tricky.
Tricky
Anyway,
gig.
but especially in the current climate,
Yep.
I think he absolutely nailed it. It was very, very nicely done. I thought the ceremony itself was interesting. It lacked a bit of dynamism. And I did think that people were going to make it a little bit more political than they did when it came to the speeches. There was a lot of stuff on the red carpet beforehand where issues were discussed. Not as much as I thought in the ceremony. I thought it was an interesting mix of winners, though, to be honest with you, as the show carried on. Which is always good for me because I'm always kind of disappointed when we have all this run-up month to month to month, and then you actually get to the awards ceremony, it's like, oh, it's exactly what I expected. I like it when there are surprises and it mixed it up. So, good ceremony. An interesting year for me. You were at home and then you went to the party.
Yes, I watched it in my underwear from home.
Nice.
You know, doing all the social media and stuff, and then writing the main bar. You know, we saw a historic win from Sterling K. Brown
Yeah.
on the TV side. 3 billboards. It surprised me a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that foreign journalists would actually fall for that one.
Yeah, I'm very pleased, but I am surprised. Like
Yeah,
yourself.
I mean, listen, I liked 3 billboards. I thought it was pretty good.
Yep.
I'd give it like a B+. I just don't know that it was really represented the best picture of the year. But I get that it's a funky year as well.
Yes.
And that, honestly, our strongest best picture category nominees, at least, could very well have come from the comedy side with Lady Bird and Get Out this year.
Yep, 100%.
So Seth Meyers, you know, I thought he did a really good job with the monologue.
Yep.
And then he kind of disappeared from the show.
For like an hour.
Yeah, there wasn't. Honestly, the show moved so quickly, I could barely keep up with it as a reporter. There's just so many awards to give out, and then of course there's the after parties.
Yes.
Did you go out and celebrate? at
No,
all?
I did
you
not.
pop
I was
any
not
bubbly?
invited.
Well, guys, we need to rectify this because there ain't no party like a Simon Thompson
That's the
attended
Tomo
party.
guarantee.
Although, that being said,
Yeah, had a pretty good time.
I did go to the Netflix party, and it
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
Yeah, it looked insane.
Yeah, you know, and when you think like, you know, insane Hollywood party, you think of like just like this giant shindig that's like, it wasn't like that at all. In fact, it was the opposite. It was super intimate. There was only maybe 150 to 200 people there.
Yeah.
And yeah, Drake ended up getting behind the turntables.
Standard.
It was wild, guys.
Yeah.
So I had a fun night out on the dance floor. I was joined by Cameron Britton, who plays Ed Kemper on Mindhunter, which you are watching
I'm
right now.
watching at the moment and absolutely loving it.
I named it the #1 like TV show that I saw on Netflix this
It
year.
is, I think, even just watching it from a production point of view, it is one of the most beautifully shot shows I have seen in a long time. The framing and the depth and the richness of that, just aside from the quality of the writing and the characters and the fact it's a great show, just watching it is like looking at a painting sometimes. good God, that's a beautiful production.
Right. I know this is Meet the Movie Press, but we do have we did have
watch
to
TV. We do watch TV.
talk about Mindhunter, which is gorgeous. So yeah, Cameron Britton stole the show out there. It was the Globes. I don't think it means anything in terms of Oscars. You know, there's literally one person in the Globes who's in the Academy, who votes for both shows. So it doesn't matter.
I felt kind of sorry for Chris Nolan because I think a lot of people went into awards season even before the nominees were announced, and everybody thought that Dunkirk was going to be a really big player, and Dunkirk is not really walking away with anything at all. And I think it's a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, it's not just him. I think it's always happened in awards season when everybody gets the shout up, and then it just doesn't happen for them.
Right.
So when it would ever pan to him, I'm kind of like, yeah, I get it. I feel your pain, Chris.
Respectfully, because Christopher Nolan did do a beautiful job with Dunkirk. Anyone who thought he was going to win any awards for that is crazy. Because there's just no heart to the movie.
Yeah, there are
no
people
emotion.
that do, but it didn't touch me in any sort of meaningful way.
So many, I've heard
Technically, it's
so
a great
many
movie.
people lately too who have been saying that.
Now, the Netflix party that you were at, that was the one where they had the hands coming out with drinks and stuff. Really,
Yes.
that looked pretty sweet. Mildly
One of them
terrifying.
grabbed my butt.
Did it?
No.
Okay.
But it could have. I mean,
It could have?
no, you can't see what you're reaching out there for. I could have made that real awkward.
You could have, yeah, that would have been awkward. But no, also when I saw your posting from the partying, I was kind of like, okay, Jeff, so are you now becoming like one of these socialite party guys? Like, Jeff does The Devil Wears Prada.
First of all, I started out at Variety doing V-page coverage, so I have had years of party coverage experience.
What are you wearing?
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
I actually never really asked that. I was never big on that question. So,
from my experience, when you ask that question, 80% of the time, nobody has a fucking clue or they've forgotten.
right. Guys, Simon, we got to talk about movie stuff. Here we go.
Okay.
Where do we want to start? Black Widow. Let's start at Black Widow.
Let's do a comic book roundup. Okay, Black Widow, yeah.
The whole show is comic
Pretty
movie
much.
news.
There's a lot of it this week.
My mother would be rolling in her grave.
Yeah.
Black Widow, okay, got a writer.
Yes.
So Marvel finally put its money where its mouth is, opened up its checkbook and said, let's get serious, let's develop this.
Yep.
To develop something, we need a writer. They ended up going with Jac Schaeffer, who wrote this Blacklist script, The Shower, which is like an alien invasion comedy that Anne Hathaway's supposedly doing, where, aliens basically invade in the middle of a bridal shower. It's kind of it's like Bridesmaids, meets...
Alien.
Yeah, sure. Independence Day, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Anne Hathaway hired him, or, got him involved to write the Scoundrels movie. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like,
Gonna write a dirty movie?
I got my adjectives confused because the movie's called Nasty Women. So I was like, dirty, nasty, rotten. Wait, what the fuck is it? Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake called Nasty Women. It's supposedly going to be, Anne Hathaway, I think, and Rebel Wilson. So that is who Jac Schaeffer is in a nutshell. Just by her credits. I think it's great that they hired a woman to write this.
Yes, good choice, good call.
What do you think of a Black Widow solo movie? What would you want from it?
To be honest, I'll be brutally honest with you. I think Black Widow is one of the least interesting characters for me in the Marvel universe so far. They haven't really done a lot with her.
Well, that's why
she's just kind of wasted. Really, they've just not developed that character at all, really. So I'm actually initially my reaction was, do I care? And then I was like, actually, I'm going to hope that this is going to really flesh out the Black Widow story and make her more interesting as a character, really give her something to do, really have some context. That, I think, will help future Avengers movies. So from initially being quite disinterested in this, I actually think it'll be a really good idea, and I think it will actually add to the Avengers universe moving forward as well.
This is a no-brainer for Marvel. I'm shocked that it didn't happen sooner.
Yeah. A lot of people have been asking for it.
It's just, you have Scarlett Johansson at peak Scarlett Johansson. And there's not a lot of Scarlett Johanssons.
No.
Maybe you get a new one every 3 to 5 years, but they're rare. So I think that you have to take advantage of, the height of her popularity, which is really experiencing right now. And you have to make this Black Widow movie. You have to make it soon.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel it's not enough. Just to have one. Why does there only need to be one in each universe or whatever? Yeah, I hope that I hope that they get a female filmmaker for this.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. And a solo female filmmaker.
Yes.
Again, all due respect to Fleck and Bowden, Anna Bowden.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Anna Bowden, who's co-directing Captain Marvel, which is as good as directing.
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, the co-thing, it means nothing, but I would like to see a woman at the helm alone.
Yeah.
For a Black Widow movie.
I would like to see. I mean, hopefully this, like I say, will help improve the character within the Marvel universe. I'd also like to see. I think for me, Black Widow and Hawkeye are two of the characters that are really people just haven't really. They tried to do a bit of Hawkeye backstory previously and flesh out the character. I would be quite interested in seeing a standalone Hawkeye movie. But Black Widow, I think, is definitely, as you say, a very shrewd move.
You would be more interested in Hawkeye than Black Widow?
No, I would be interested.
Okay,
They're both kind of on a level for me.
All right.
But I think this is a good thing for.
I think this one could be a
Widow.
prequel and go back to her days, sort of being trained.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else do you think it could be?
Well, I think it could be. I mean, I'm assuming. And I might be totally incorrect here. I assume it would be some kind of origin story, some sort of story around that, or an offshoot from the current cycle in the Marvel universe.
A lot of fans are taking it. Right, like there's so much you can do with a Black Widow movie. I really think if they can find the right,
well, you can see
angle.
her go from black girlfriend to black fiance to black wife to then sadly losing her husband and becoming Black Widow. You could go through the whole romance, the whole Tinder, Avengers Tinder.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that was just an idea. I'm not saying that Disney have to do that.
I'm just saying. A lot of fans are interpreting this though as Black Widow survives Avengers 3, and others are being like, "Well, we already knew she was coming back for Avengers 4,"
Yeah.
and again, we don't know anything at this point because this could be a prequel.
That makes sense.
That's all.
That would be quite interesting.
That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm very interested in this, and I think, as you say, now is the time to make it. Okay, so next. Yeah. Let's talk about my scoop this week.
All right,
for
Fancy
IGN.
Pants.
Mr. Fancy Pants, look at me with all the news. So I did an interview for IGN last weekend with Michael Pena for, it's actually to do with 12 Strong, but I couldn't sit with him and not talk about
Luis.
Ant-Man. Luis, who's a brilliant character. One of my favorite characters.
I know.
So obviously we know Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out in a couple of months' time. And he dropped into conversation that we were talking about how the character has developed. And the whole interview is up on IGN, by the way, IGN.com. And he basically said, he dropped in that he doesn't know what they would want to do or if they would want him in the third movie. And that's the first time that anybody's really spoken about a potential third Ant-Man movie. Apart from the fact, like, if it was offered, would you do one? Yes. So it seems that potentially Luis is going to be maybe going off and doing, he's going to feature again in a future Ant-Man movie. I did ask about, because obviously this is the first time that he and Chris Hemsworth had met. They're both in Marvel, Chris being Thor, him being Luis. And I said, is that the first time they've actually met? And he said, yes, it was. That was the first time they met and worked together, which suggests that Luis also won't be making an appearance in the Avengers Infinity timeline as it currently stands at the moment. So
You've lost me a little. I'm a little confused. I'm not going to lie.
okay, so break it down for you.
But let me. I mean,
he's said that he's talked about a third movie.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
I got that.
But
he lost me at timelines.
Okay, so basically, he and Chris obviously working together on 12 Strong. That is the first time that they had met, and they'd never worked together before, which suggests that Luis is currently not appearing.
I see what you're saying.
In that Avengers Assemble line of movies.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Well, there's 3 Iron Man movies, right?
Yep.
And there's 3 Thor movies,
Yep.
right? And there's 3 Captain America movies, right?
There is.
So I was always going to assume.
I would have assumed there was going to be a third one. And people
Ant-Man
do
movie.
like Ant-Man. They do like the character, and I think they like the world around that. So I would. When he said that, I was like, yeah, I think a third movie would be great.
All right. Well, it seems we're getting an Ant-Man 3, folks.
That would be good.
We'll just see. I hope Peyton Reed comes back to direct it.
I think so. It would
You
be.
kind of look like Peyton Reed a little.
Someone else said that recently.
That's how I'm looking at you saying it.
Really? Yeah, no, someone else said that quite recently.
Okay, let's talk about Black Panther.
Let's do it.
Advanced sales through the roof.
Yeah.
Well, the roof. Give it to me. You're the box office guy. This is your
the pre-sale on Black Panther. The advanced ticket sales sold more than any other movie in the Marvel universe. which I think is a very good sign. I think a lot of people are very excited about this.
This opens end of February, right?
Yeah, but also bear in mind that Black Panther it's mid-February.
Okay.
To the average person on the street, Black Panther up until now has not been a particularly like tip of your tongue character.
Right. No, I don't.
Not at all.
Yep.
You know, probably up there with the likes of Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. Your average moviegoer didn't know about these characters, wasn't involved with them. So for something like Black Panther to come out, okay, they've done an amazing job with the trailers and stuff like that, and the cast is phenomenal. But this level of interest in a property that is fundamentally, compared to other Marvel characters, unknown and untested, it's phenomenal.
It's different.
Yeah.
It looks like it has personality. Some of these Marvel movies, you know, like, what is the personality of Thor 2?
Yeah.
You know, some of these Marvel movies sort of lack that personality, and I think that is what is really exciting about Black Panther.
Yeah. No,
it's a very sort of specific world and take, and I'm excited to see what Ryan Coogler has come up with.
And I think this just goes to prove as well, I mean, for a long time, we saw a lot of this sort of in the 90s and the early 2000s, is Hollywood was making a lot of movies with predominantly African-American casts that were marketed to African-American audiences, on the proviso that this is a movie about black people. So really, it'll be mostly black people who want to watch it.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, of course it's not true. But that was whether that was action or drama or comedies, and that was the way it's gone. Hollywood has finally woken up to the fact that you can have predominantly African-American casts telling stories that are really deeply linked to African-American sort of dreams, aspirations, heritage, etc., etc. And it's not just black people who will want to go and watch this movie. Audiences now are getting more and more colorblind, and this is proof, if ever Hollywood needed it, that everybody's interested in these stories and everybody's interested in these characters. It's not a kind of heritage or race thing. If you make good characters, they could be whoever they are, but audiences will pay to go and see them.
Black Panther.
Yeah,
doing
very
well.
exciting. I haven't seen any preview stuff on that yet, but I'm super psyched for that invite to drop in my inbox.
I hope to see it soon.
Oh. I'll be your +1 yet. Not nice of you to ask. How nice of you to ask. That's good.
Let's move over to Fox.
Okay, let's do it.
Deadpool 2 moving up a couple of weeks. Exciting for all the Deadpool fans out there. And yet, that means that its second weekend goes up against Solo. So there's a question right now. Is Solo actually going to come out at the end of May? We still haven't seen anything. Haven't seen an official poster.
Nope.
An official image,
Teaser.
really, besides that, like, one, image with, like, the gang in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Awkward.
I'd make a couple of X's on that one. Although I still see, when I see stories to do with Solo, a lot of people are still using that photo, and I'm like, out of date image.
I think you could open this movie without a single trailer or poster, and it would do pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
So it's not about whether they have enough time to market it. I just wonder if they're going to delay it to give Ron Howard more time. I don't know. It's just a very suspicious, timing thing. Like Disney, I know that they can't really. That sale has not gone through. That's going to take like a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much communication the two are allowed to have as far as collusion between the two separate, technically, studios. But it's suspicious that the timing of that. Don't you think?
A little bit.
That Deadpool 2 would open a week before Solo?
Yeah. A little bit.
I don't know.
But both of those are movies where there is a lot of anticipation for them.
Deadpool 2, I think is going to be better. Here's my hot prediction.
You think it's going to be better than Deadpool?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes. I think Deadpool 2 is going to be better than Deadpool. That's not what I was saying. I wasn't that big a fan of the original Deadpool. I think that it's going to do better than Solo. What do you think of that prediction? Could the R-rated Deadpool 2 outgross Solo?
I think that's interesting.
Do you think I'm wrong? Do you want to make a bet?
No, no. Last time it cost me breakfast, which I still owe you, by the way.
That's right.
No, I don't. No, I think it's going to be very close because I think they're both going to bring in some pretty monster amounts of money. But I don't know whether.
Like, I don't want to sit. It's just like with the 5 month gap between. It's different because Last Jedi just opened.
Yeah.
Han Solo would open in May theoretically.
Yeah.
That's only 5 months. Like I feel like there would be some Star Wars fatigue a little bit. Whereas I think that there's a real hunger for Deadpool 2. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually I hadn't thought about that
because the
until you
last few years, every time a Star Wars movie has come out, that has led the box office, right? Did Rogue One finish number one?
Yes,
Last Jedi finish number one?
They've all finished number one.
Right. So this one should finish number one. I'm saying that's my prediction. It won't. So crazy.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Fox also delayed New Mutants.
Yes.
Pushed it back 10 months. This is a significant delay. For a movie that was scheduled to come out in April.
And I think this is part of the Disney Fox thing. I think this is where that is really coming into play. Because I think they want to step back, refocus, and make sure they're positioning it correctly. Because that's the kind of dark stuff that Disney, not like the sub-brands, haven't put out before. It's a new positioning for them.
I'm not gonna, I believe that these movies are going theatrical.
Yeah.
Okay, New Mutants. I believe in this release date, February 2019. That said, Disney is putting together its over-the-top service, its streaming service, and I have heard rumors that if not New Mutants itself, if they continue with New Mutants, that franchise could be for the Disney OTT service.
As
is that
films
wild?
Or as a limited series?
As films.
Interesting.
That they would be doing original films.
So they're going to do a Netflix.
Yes.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making that up. That's fact. They're definitely going to be putting, original movies on that service.
That would be interesting because then in that case they would be effectively the first to create what we have in potentially, if they wanted to do this, what we have in the movie theater season. So it's like start of summer, box office, etc., etc. So you start to create those. If you want to release, say, New Mutants like every 9 months or every 6 months or every 12 months, you then make this appointment viewing. You could even put it, and this is something that they tried within Humans and it didn't quite work, is you can put these films out in that dead spot in the calendar. So the kind of the
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, the Labor Day weekends and the kind of the end of September, just before all the awards and holiday movies start to go. That they could use it and kind of fill those. And then, whether in theaters or at home, every single big beat they are hitting with something big and new.
I don't know what the budget is for New Mutants, but I think that you could. This is another prediction. I think you're going to start to see a lot more superhero movies in like the $30 to $50 million range. How much did Kick-Ass cost? Do you remember?
I don't off the top of my head.
Low. I mean, it was pretty low budget.
Yeah.
I think you're going to start to see some more medium budget superhero movies.
Well, that sort of $20-25 million sweet spot.
Well, things were like New Mutants, where you basically turn it into a horror movie where there's superpowers involved.
Yeah.
Jeff, real quick, I just looked it up. It was $30 million for Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass, yeah, exactly. So that's the low end of my range that I was saying, but 30 to 50 million, I think, is where you're going to start to see these movies come in, because then it makes sense, to put it on the over-the-top service.
Yeah.
If that's what you're trying to boost subscribers. Like if Netflix is going to pay 90, for a big budget Will Smith thing, I think Disney would be willing to pay 40 for. A hot brand like X-Men with New Mutants, but doesn't have necessarily big stars in it.
Yeah. Now, with them talking about the Xeno Hour in the chat is saying that they're predicting that Solo will only make 500 to 600 million worldwide, where Deadpool 2 could make more. Interesting. It's kind of in line.
I don't know how many box office projection people would predict that. I have to talk to Ed Douglas and see what he would think.
I mean, I just find it quite, going back to talking about, sort of the fact we haven't seen any promo for a lot of these movies. It is very strange because when you think that with the other Star Wars movies,
they have a year run up. A year.
Almost a full date-to-date calendar year.
Now, obviously, this is different with the reshoots and everything.
Yeah.
They had to reconfigure a lot of stuff, bring in new characters, new casting.
I mean, Ron has done a lot of reshoots, but he hasn't. It's not like there isn't footage there that they could have banked and put out. And how many times do we see trailers that are basically you don't see a lot of that stuff in the final cut?
It's like I don't want to contribute to those like Solos being delayed rumors because I haven't heard that.
No,
and it's still entirely possible that they could make the date. It's not like they're the type of company, Lucasfilm, that gives long lead looks at movies. So, a lot of movies start screening for, maybe they screen for Simon and I a week or two before they come out.
Yeah, that's about normal.
If they screen for a lot of other magazine people and stuff like that, a month out.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm doesn't do. No one's showing you Last Jedi a month from release.
No,
so
not
they don't.
even,
they don't need that extra cushion.
It's not even that trick where sometimes they go, let's get a load of journalists in a theater and show them a couple of 5 or 10 minute sequences and stuff like that to get some long lead feature stuff done. It's interesting.
All right, let's stay with Fox. Let's talk about Gambit.
Yes.
Gambit was also part of the trio of films that got new dates. It moved from February, right? Right, from Valentine's Day to the summer, which I think makes sense. I don't know how romantic a movie Gambit was looking to be. But
on that point, counter-programming.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyways, it's like, do you want to should this movie be counter-programming or should it be the fucking programming?
No, true.
It lost another director. Gore Verbinski bolted. Deadline had something about scheduling issues. Looking at his plate, I don't know what the pressing projects are. I
think the scheduling issue is the fact that he didn't want to schedule it into his schedule. It was on the schedule. It was going to shoot in March. Doesn't he have like the next year blocked off? Like, where is the scheduling issue? I'm not sure. Last I heard about the project, it was undergoing rewrites to make it more New Orleans. Okay.
To give it more of that southern flavor. Lizzie Kaplan had been in talks for the female lead. I don't know if they bring in a new director, if that will stand. I don't know if her deal has closed and the new director is inheriting her, or if the new director just has Channing to work with and will be able to make his or her own decisions. I wrote, my piece was sort of about how, if Channing Tatum actually wants to get this movie made, why not just direct it yourself? He has aspirations to direct. He's developing 2 projects to direct for Give Me Leonard Peacock and the Sun.
But that is a big one for him to cut his teeth on.
It's a huge leap.
Yeah,
it's a huge leap. But people have done it.
Yeah, they have, but especially when you've got something like Gambit, which, I mean, God, I don't know how long they've been talking about doing this movie. I mean, it's a long time. And would you really want to... For something that's gestated so long and you're finally making it happen, would you give that to somebody completely new?
I don't know that it would be Channing Tatum solo. I think, Channing would, if he directed it, and I doubt that he will, even though I'm sure it's already all storyboarded, he can sort of just come in and shoot what... Anyways, I think it would be Channing and Reed Carolyn, his producing partner. They were going to co-direct The Sun together. So I think that there would be another set of eyes, calling the shots there alongside Channing.
You'd need a stabilizer.
And they are the 2 producers on the project, too. It's not like they're just, actors for hire necessarily. They have a creative stake in it. Or, someone reached out and said, is this even Channing Tatum's passion project? Or is this something he just sort of got shoehorned into 5 years ago? And now the press is expecting it, and he's, feels pressured to deliver. And maybe he just wants out. And maybe that's why I don't know if it's him that's, making these directors flee. And, I want this script change and, creative differences sort of thing. But it's a lot of directors to come and go.
I'd really like to see someone with a bit of an action heritage come through and direct this. I mean, I was thinking the other day.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
John McTiernan.
Yeah, John McTiernan.
He's available. John McTiernan. No, but I was thinking that would be awesome.
Have him and Rennie Harlan fucking co-direct.
Wow, oh my God, 90s gasm.
That would
be amazing. No, but I was thinking the guys that had sort of done the John Wick movies, if they could bring some of that finesse to that character Gambit, would be quite good. And also, there would be that darkness, which would actually really play well on the New Orleans setting.
Sounds like a heist film. It sounds like it's going to be like a kind of light heist comedy a little bit. I don't know.
John Woo? John Woo.
He's hilarious.
That's a name that I haven't heard for quite some time.
Face Off is actually pretty funny.
But yeah, Face Off is great. I watched Face Off quite recently, actually. Good God, some of those stunt doubles are absolutely terrible. There's a scene towards the end where John Travolta is hanging off the side of the boat. There's a guy playing John Travolta as his stunt double. He looks nothing like John Travolta, and his wig is very, very bad. So some parts of that don't stand up to a rewatch. But it's still a great movie.
I know you're not sitting here talking shit about Face Off right now. Like,
I
know you wouldn't do that.
No, but it was really distracting. Really distracting. But yeah.
One more piece of exciting superhero news. This is the best thing to happen to DC films in quite some time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Mike DeLuca coming on to produce Suicide Squad 2. I think Mike DeLuca I was so fucking pumped for Suicide Squad. I loved the idea in theory of a group of villains teaming up. Like, it's brilliant. I think Mike DeLuca knows what these movies are supposed to be, knows what they could be, and is going to make sure that's what Suicide Squad 2 is, or at least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Mike DeLuca has some of the best taste in Hollywood. This movie needs a strong producer. There's just so many big people and egos and forces at work on Suicide Squad 2, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, it needs a fucking ringleader.
Yeah.
And I think Mike DeLuca is the right person, so this bodes extremely well for a sequel that I still want to see, even though it's to a awful movie.
Yes. I don't think they could do worse than Suicide Squad. That was such a missed opportunity in so many ways. So I think anything will be better, chances are. But yeah, you know, it won't be difficult to better that. Just going back briefly to what you were talking about, directors for Gambit.
Yeah.
People are saying Steven Soderbergh, Catherine
That
Bigelow.
would be interesting. I don't know that I see that happening.
But Zias in the chat is saying Ava DuVernay for Black Widow. I'm very interested to see what has happened with Wrinkle in Time.
First of all, I think that's totally possible. I think Marvel and Lucasfilm want to work with Ava DuVernay. So
Yeah. Will be quite interesting. So, cool. Yeah, so one other bit of superhero-related stuff before we move on to other topics. Avengers 4 apparently could involve a time travel plot. Now, I'm a fan of time travel plots, but having already seen how badly that worked in some of the X-Men movies, I don't think it would need to be done well, and I don't think Avengers needs to go there with that. What are your thoughts on that
you
one?
just took the words right out of my mouth. That X-Men movie, we're talking about Days of Future Past, right? That X-Men movie
Did not work.
Is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I think time travel is a terrible idea.
Yeah. It doesn't need it.
And I'm not a fan.
When you have the ability in a film series to do interdimensional stuff, I don't think then you need to double down with time travel stuff.
Star Trek 4 sounded like it was going to be awful too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they haven't made it.
Yeah, maybe.
What was the Shane Black thing you were talking about?
Oh yeah, Shane Black is apparently going to be writing a reboot of the 1960s TV show The Avengers. You remember when that film came out with, Ray Fiennes and Uma Thurman?
Yeah.
That actually isn't absolute dog shit.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bad film, but there are some good ideas in there. Seriously, it just wasn't carried out particularly well.
No,
interesting pop fact for you. When the first Avengers movie came out, in the UK, they had to call it Avengers Assemble because this British TV show, if it was the Avengers, they thought people wouldn't understand that this wasn't the TV show, which is
Even though there's a gigantic green monster.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has nothing to do with this. But yeah, so Shane Black, very interesting that he's looking at doing a reboot of this. It's looking like it's going to be TV, but I seriously think the Avengers TV show is something that really could now, re-looked at, could make a good movie. But then you've got Avengers and Avengers on the big screen.
HP for hard pass.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think you could do. They could do something fun with this, but obviously with Avengers on the big screen,
It's great.
you couldn't then have the Avengers.
It's a great name. It's a great piece of IP.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be watching it.
No. Okay. But I like Shane Black, so I saw that little bit of tidbit this week. Tidbit. And I thought it was actually quite good.
There's a whole bunch more tidbits.
Yeah.
But before we get to them,
okay,
let's talk about box office.
Okay, cool.
So what comes out this week? We got The Commuter. You and I saw The Commuter.
We did.
What did you think? Let's talk. We can talk about The Commuter. So before we get to the box office, let's talk about the movies that are opening this weekend.
Okay.
What is opening this weekend? Proud Mary and The Commuter.
Proud Mary, The Commuter, Paddington 2, and The Post is going wide.
Okay. Did you see Paddington 2?
Yes, I did.
And you loved it?
I loved it.
I've heard it's great.
Full disclaimer.
Yep.
The director and writer of Friends.
Look at you. I have a fucking Paddington Bear. Disclaimer. Disclaimer, I have a Paddington Bear at home, so...
But also, no, so just so it's like, oh, he's a friend of yours. I love the first one. It's genuinely a very good movie.
It's a crowd pleasers.
Yeah. And it just, everything that it just does really, really well. It's just very funny. Hugh Grant is hilarious.
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
I've heard he's really good.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Maybe he'll get a Golden Globe nom next year.
Well, yeah, I'm just very surprised that it wasn't nommed at all. I mean, obviously it was Weinstein, and then Warner bought it quite late in the year, so this was quite a
But it didn't.
quite a
It came
fast
out.
push for
It came
them.
out this year.
Paddington 2 came out this year, yeah,
Right.
but it was obviously they didn't know
Maybe
what the
next
release
year,
stuff
though.
was.
Maybe next year. Hugh
Next year
Grant
would be
could
good.
up
I'm
for
a bit of a
an
shame that
award.
he wasn't nominated this year, as it would coincide lovely with the film coming out. But there you go. Yeah, but Paddington 2, I absolutely loved it. I mean, it's it's not going to win an Oscar. It's not that kind of movie, but it's just a really good, fun, warm, entertaining, pretty exciting
You sound
family
like you need
movie.
a hug, buddy.
No, it's really, really nice. A lot of these family movies that are put out there are so they don't work for everybody, but this one really does. I mean, I saw it twice, once with industry people, and once with a complete full audience at the premiere last weekend, and everybody really had great fun with this. It wasn't just industry lovey-lovey, oh, the first one did really well, let's jump on the bandwagon. People were genuinely laughing. It was a wonderful feeling to see people enjoying this film in the same way. So Paddington 2 is really, really good. I think I've yet to find anybody who said anything negative about the film. Everybody's come away liking, the movie or something about it. So I think it's good. It's going to do quite well this weekend as well. The Commuter we saw together, coincidentally, sitting there with our little pretzel bites at the AMC Century
Oh, and Simon
City.
had his little Sour Patch
I had my little
Kid,
Sour Patch
just
Kids
nibbling on
and
the
my
little
little
sour
root beer.
candy.
I like to have a snack while I'm eating, watching a movie.
I wanted one so bad. I wanted to just, but I didn't want to.
You should have just.
I didn't want to
It
just.
was right there. It was
during the
between
movie.
us in the armrest.
I know.
You could have just dipped in. Yeah, The Commuter. There's a lot of good stuff in there. It's not particularly exciting. Some nice little set pieces. It licks along at a fair old pace. I didn't really care about many of the characters. That was kind of the big problem for me.
Right. Well, there aren't any really characters. There's Liam Neeson and a bunch of archetypes.
Yeah, but all the people he interacts with, it's like some of them they didn't really develop that well.
No, there's only one you could care about, and they're gone pretty early.
Yeah, it was fine. It does what it says on the tin. It delivers kind of a bit of action and a bit of
mystery and intrigue.
Some of the red herrings are a little bit too obvious, to be honest with you. And I mean, we both knew what the ending was going to be pretty early on in the film.
The first 10 minutes.
It's not difficult to work it out.
You can go on IMDb right now and tell me what happens.
Yeah, it's really not that difficult.
Sure.
But it was fun, and it sets it up for a sequel. So I could absolutely see the Commuter.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
you had it right. The Commuter.
But yeah, it's fine.
I
it's
would
not his
fully
best
encourage
at all.
everyone to go to the tracking board, not just because I am the editor-in-chief, but because Drew McWeeny is one of the best film critics out there,
Right.
and he had a great time skewering this movie.
Oh, he did not like it.
Oh, he gave it a big fat D.
Ooh.
Which would have been the worst review I've seen him file, except for the review he filed after that we broke embargo on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oops. 10 of Thieves. Oops.
Yeah, don't Google Big Fat D, by the way. Just a warning. Not that I've done it, but a friend told me.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm actually the director previously has done. He did Unknown, which I thought was quite funny because Liam Neeson keeps getting phone calls. I won't spoil the movie.
He's very good
no
on
spoilers.
the phone.
But yeah,
his phone voice.
Talk about dialing it in.
If you could get him to record your voicemail, it would be the greatest.
Oh, Waze at the moment. If you have Waze as your navigation, you can actually choose Liam Neeson's voice to do your directionals, which is great. I have been driving around with Liam Neeson telling me where to go for a couple of days. But when the phone keeps going, it always comes up as Unknown. And I was like, well, that's clever, because the director also directed Unknown, which also starred Liam Neeson.
Yes.
I was tittering to myself. But it's true. But yeah, I mean, I love The Shallows. I thought that was a really great movie. This is not as tense as The Shallows.
I'm going to quote you on that. I loved The Shallows.
I loved The Shallows. I did. I really enjoyed that.
I like The Shallows. I
mean, I didn't like Unknown.
No,
the other one they did was
the worst one.
This is better than Unknown,
This
but it's
is
not
the
great.
same movie as Nonstop. It's like almost
fundamentally,
literally the same movie.
Yeah.
Don't
go expecting Taken on a Train.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Although Drew basically said
he's
he's playing John Taken, just like he's played John Taken in a zillion other movies. Yeah. Even though his name is Brian Mills. I thought props to Drew on his John Taken reference. So let's talk about box office, because they didn't screen Proud Mary.
They did not screen Proud Mary, and from what reactions I've seen online
which is
today,
bullshit.
Yeah. And there were people that wanted to go and see it on Thursday previews last night, and the studio apparently was dead set on it not opening before midnight. So I know a lot of people have been to see it. Apparently it's not great. So this is what we're looking at.
Get out of town.
So looking like Jumanji is going to take top spot again. With somewhere
Which
in the
is
region
crazy.
of another 30 million.
This movie's doing great.
Yeah.
Sony's not getting enough credit. And I know, listen, they haven't announced it yet.
Jumanji 2.
Yeah, Hollywood math dictates a sequel. There will be a Jumanji sequel. Someone will announce it. Someone will claim a big fucking exclusive.
Yep.
It'll be one of the fucking trades.
It'll happen. Like I said, I think it'll be announced like as soon as this starts to end its theatrical run. I think this is going to be confirmed.
Yeah.
So Commuter's coming out. Jumanji's going to take top spot. Commuter is going to look at a weekend of 3-day of about 10, 4-day of 12.3 million.
That's low.
It is low. It's a lot lower.
Oh, I would have thought
it was going
15 to 18.
That's exactly where I would have pitched it, but apparently it's looking at 10
That's
to,
not good.
12.3.
Okay.
Not good. Paddington 2 is looking at about 16
Commuter's
mil.
a boring title.
Yeah.
Too.
16 mil to 20 mil for the 3 to 4 day weekend. The first one took 18.9 mil when it opened, so this would be on target.
Which
a little
movie?
bit higher on that. Paddington 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Proud Mary.
I think Paddington 2 is going to do better. I think it's going to overperform around 25.
Yeah, I think 22 to 25 would be entirely doable with Paddington this weekend. Proud Mary, they're looking at low to mid-teens, so I think that's going to come in just behind the Commuter at probably I would say 10, maybe 12.
That's a movie that could overperform too, though.
Yeah, The Post is looking at a weekend as it expands of about 18 million, which is kind of okay. So, I mean, there's not a huge amount of choice there right now. A lot of the stuff that came out pre-Christmas for the award season is expanding at the moment. Another one is All the Money in the World. We'll get to that in just a second. People are asking if we are going to discuss that in the show. We are going to get to that in just a second.
Okay.
So really out of those, Paddington 2 for me is the best bet. Commuter is fine. Proud Mary I haven't seen. On The Post I loved, but I know it won't be everybody's cup of tea.
All right. Well, there's just so much more to talk about.
Yeah. Should we talk about All the Money in the World first of all?
Let's just get to it.
Okay, so everybody knows that that had to be reshot after Kevin Spacey was erased from the film, replaced by Christopher Plummer, a plumber who's getting more work than the Mario brother these days, which is great.
Right. Everybody wants Christopher Plummer and everything. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Get Plummer. So basically we knew that there were going to be reshoots. Came out this week that Michelle Williams received like $1,000 for reshoots. Mark Wahlberg received over $1 million for reshoots. Also then came out the story this week about the fact that he apparently, according to reports, wouldn't okay Christopher Plummer being brought undone for the reshoots unless he got this money, because that was in his contract where he got to okay his co-stars or any replacements. Obviously, this is not. It doesn't make Mark Wahlberg look particularly good at all. It is worth bearing in mind, though, and I'm not justifying what he's done because I think they both should have been paid the same amount of money to do this. And Michelle Williams is an excellent actress, so it's not parroted with her talent at all. They are, I believe, represented by the same people.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you think somebody here has dropped the ball.
That's
you
fair.
would think you'd fight for both clients to get a better deal, right?
I think it's completely fair to question WME in this case.
Yep.
Completely fair.
I'd be pissed if that was me.
Here's the thing. Because there's so many things that aren't being considered now.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy. And the problem with society today is that you can't even have the conversation. You can't even raise the questions and the issues that I am about to raise on Twitter because you will be savaged.
Right.
And the messenger is shot. Okay? I've had so many conversations with women in the industry. Okay? Women who know what it's really like, and they don't live in this fucking fantasy world, and they thought it wasn't fair, but they didn't really bat an eyelash. Here's the thing. We don't know how much either of them got paid to start. What were their starting salaries? What did Michelle Williams get paid to do the movie? What did Mark Wahlberg get paid to do the movie? We do not know this. Mark Wahlberg makes, let's say, $15 to $20 million a movie.
Yep.
From what I've read, he took an 80% pay cut. So what is 20% of $15 million? We'll go the low route. 20% of $15 million is $3 million.
Yeah.
Let's say he got $3 million. Let's say Michelle Williams' quote is $5 million. She gets $5 million to start. She's the lead. So we don't know those things. Number one. Number two. God, there's just so much. We don't know how many days or scenes they were asked to reshoot, right? I read a recent report that said they basically shot approximately the same number of days because Christopher Plummer was only there 10 days. So, what's the difference between 8 days, 6 days, whatever? It seemed to me like he shared more scenes with Mark Wahlberg than Michelle Williams. It seemed to me like there was more things.
Yep.
Number two, they were outraged that the public is blaming Mark Wahlberg. This is why you have fucking contracts, people. Okay? This is why you get co-star approval. Kevin Spacey touching a bunch of guys, or allegedly. How is that Mark Wahlberg's fucking problem? It's not his problem, okay? He negotiated for a certain clause in his contract. Whether he had reshoots or not in his contract, it's not even... Guys, this isn't reshoots. I don't even know that this falls under the category of reshoots because it's a month before. Because the movie was made, right?
So how would you categorize it then?
The movie was made, but then there's probably reshoots on the movie after it's cut, right? And then it's publicized. And now you're telling him to go back for more reshoots? That's a special circumstance. He is absolutely entitled to his $1.5 million. Now that may not be the issue here. The issue is that why wasn't Michelle Williams paid $1.5 million? Here's and whether listen, $1,000, overall, and they're 80-pound per DM. That's crazy. She should have either negotiated it, just like where Jennifer Lawrence said, I felt bad because I didn't know my worth, and she wished that she had negotiated. Maybe Michelle Williams people should have negotiated. I don't know if she had reshoots in her contract. She said she was nice and, and wanted to, help the production out. Good for her. Mark Wahlberg doesn't have to do that. And it doesn't make him an asshole to get what he is entitled to, what he is valued to be getting, especially considering the fucking pay cut that he took in the first place. But here's the most controversial thing that I'm going to say on this point. And these are facts that I'm throwing at you. Don't shoot the messenger. Mark Wahlberg is a movie star. Michelle Williams is not. Mark Wahlberg puts asses in seats. Michelle Williams does not. I have the numbers right here in front of me. And I got rid of all the franchises. Get rid of Transformers. Get rid of Daddy's Home. Get rid of Ted. Get rid of the movies where he shares billing with the other guys, with Mark Wahlberg, with Will Ferrell. Two Guns with Denzel Washington. The Happening, which people really saw because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? Pain and Gain, Contraband, The Fighter, Max Payne, Broken City, Lone Survivor, Patriots Day, Deepwater Horizon, The Gambler, Invincible Shooter. I'm looking at the numbers here worldwide. They don't compare to the... And don't even tell me about, I'm not a fan of Michelle Williams or talking shit about Michelle Williams. I was there at Dawson's Creek at the very start. And Dawson's Creek is going to play a part of this, too. Wendy and Lucy, Blue Valentine, Meek's Cutoff, Take This Waltz, Certain Women, My Week with Marilyn, which was her biggest hit, 14 million in the U.S. These are different statistics. You are paid based on your previous track record, first of all. It's just crazy to me that people, equal pay, you get equal pay if you do equal things. Here's where I'm going to bring in some other movies and stuff like that. In Ghost in the Shell, Jessica Chastain was like, Michelle Williams has been, and I love Jessica Chastain. Don't get me wrong, and she was only trying to help here. Jessica Chastain goes, Michelle Williams has been in the industry for 20 years. You know who else has been in the industry for 20 years? Michael Pitt. You know how I know that? Because they did fucking Dawson's Creek together when they were fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
Michael Pitt, do you think he gets paid the same as Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell? Then people are going to talk about the lead versus supporting argument, okay? Do you think Michael Fassbender got paid more for The Counselor than Brad Pitt did? Lead and supporting means... these things mean nothing in terms of negotiating a contract. And you can absolutely be outraged by the systemic problem in Hollywood with women getting underpaid. Again, I don't think that this is the example to do it with. Just like I had issues with a lot of the Amy Adams, Jennifer Lawrence reporting. By the way, this reporting comes with an agenda. It's being released via USA Today. Do you guys see them breaking a lot of industry news and salary news? First of all, I don't even think we should know these people's salaries. It's bizarre. It's a little bizarre to me. Sports is one thing. I don't know that I've always actually had a problem when my editors have come to me and said, can you find out what so-and-so is getting paid for this? It's not our fucking business, honestly.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
You only get what you can negotiate. And if Michelle Williams wants to fire WME, I wouldn't blame her. I'm not saying she should.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't blame her. And the other thing, this is what really pissed me off. A lot of people taking shine. I'm sorry. I'm
No. It's fine. It's fine.
Mark Wahlberg's been getting shit on as an actor too. She has 4 Oscar nominations. She's fantastic. Nobody is arguing this. Don't sit there and tell me Mark Wahlberg is a bad actor. Mark Wahlberg has 2 Oscar nominations himself. Mark Wahlberg is a fine actor, and he does a very good job in All the Money in the World. And frankly, I've seen another actor play the same character. I thought Mark Wahlberg did a much better job. So there you go. That's my rant. You can't compare the two. It's apples and oranges, Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams. You should not be turning Mark Wahlberg into the villain, because the villain is the fucking system in place. And if you want to change it, Michelle Williams, change agencies.
I think you've made a lot of... I mean, I don't agree with all of your points, but I think you've made a lot of really valid points, and I think that's an argument that...
Because I couldn't make the points on Twitter.
No.
There's no reverb here. We can have an actual conversation, just like I had our actual conversations with women in the industry. But on Twitter, I get savaged the way any of this looks in print. Go on.
No, 100%. And I think a lot of what you've said is there's certainly... It's a strong argument, it's a reasoned argument, and some of which I agree with and some I don't. I think for me, the problem here is the parity between 1.5 million and $1,000. And I think it's because that gap is so big. I don't think...
She didn't want money. She didn't ask for it.
No, I know.
You get what you asked for.
Yeah, no, and entirely, and you're 100% right in that. But I think it's because, and especially with the fact that women are generally underpaid in the industry and not represented as well as they should be, I think it's because the parity between 1.5 million and $1,000, the gap is so hugely. It's not even like they're both millions.
Looks bad.
It
looks bad, but also, it is not bad.
Also, you and I don't have $1.5 million. We have $1,000. $1,000 is to the man on the street an attainable, realistic, physical, put your hands on, go to the bank, check your savings amount of money.
It's not a lot of money anymore.
That is a normal person amount of money. 1.5 million, some people will never earn that in their entire life. That is movie star money.
So the perception.
Exactly. And a lot of this is the perception. You're absolutely right. I think that, yes, if she asked for more, then that would have been up for negotiation. So I think that could have been done. I do think, and all your points about Mark Wahlberg are absolutely correct. I do think that if it was a case of the negotiation being done by the agents, I think the agents that have... Obviously, they wouldn't get the same, but I think there was some conversations there that either perhaps didn't go as well as they should, or didn't happen, or just ended perhaps not with the ideal outcome. So I think that is something that needs to be issued. I think a lot of the outrage is coming from the fact that that parity is so big.
I'm shocked that Venom is not playing a bigger role in this thing. Like... Mark Wahlberg this project was done to him.
Yeah.
And now he's getting, maybe he's on vacation with his kids, and now he's getting called back to work on it. Michelle Williams, I know that she had holiday plans with her daughter and had to rearrange those. Yeah. She was under contract working on another Sony movie.
Yeah. And I spoke to Mark and the rest of the cast about this when it was the premiere here in LA. I was working the carpet for that. Everybody had moved on. This was done, dusted, signed, sealed, delivered. It was finished. They had moved on to other projects.
I'm just saying it's more complicated. And this is really all I'm saying.
It is.
It is a more complicated issue than so many articles I have read have made it out to be. And I know that a lot of those writers are just trying to do good, and they're just trying to advance the discussion. And it's a discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah, but we have to have context.
Exactly. And to me, actresses, it's a tricky place to start.
Yeah.
Because I think that the real problems are the little people, the below-the-line people, where, a male costume designer and a female costume designer are, basically, all these people are doing the same thing. Michelle Williams is acting, and Mark Williams is acting, and the costume designers, doing their thing and whatever. But, acting is different because people go to see the actors.
Yes, they do.
That it's the foreign, it's the actors that have foreign value, not the costumes.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, I have
so that's where the problem is. Yeah. It's really below the line. So when I hear people crying about not getting $1.5 million for a week of work, it's like, I don't know. Have your agents foresee that potential problem. I just, you cannot put the Kevin Spacey thing. It's not Mark Wahlberg's problem.
No.
He's going to work. We all want to be paid when we go to work, right?
Yep.
So why isn't he entitled to $1.5 million?
Yep.
And for all we fucking know, Mark Wahlberg has donated that $1.5 million to charity. You don't even know what he's done with it.
Yep. But no, but I think a lot of the points that you've raised are, and I think this is the right forum to do this in. I think you're absolutely right to raise those. And the argument is an entirely valid one. But I think, especially as this is a hot button topic right now.
It is.
I think the immediate reaction, the knee-jerk thing is like, ah, he's a dick, Mark Wahlberg. And I think, yeah, I think there is an element to say, okay, he got a lot more money than her. Is that fair? But I think you do have to look at the big picture and all the factors.
Because if I add up the $3 million that I said at the beginning for Mark Wahlberg and the 1.5, right, that's $4.5 million. What did I say at the beginning for Michelle Williams? 5. So it's like she could still be getting more than him on this project. Even though he's a much more valuable star.
Context is key.
And here's the thing, we don't know these things. We do not know them. So many people will sit there and tell you that they think that they fucking know them, and even I'm sitting here posturing like I think I know them, but I don't fucking know them. Until you have the fucking contract in front of you, which I very much doubt USA Today has. Respectfully. That's all.
But no, that's a good point, and I think points very well made.
Thank you.
It's not often that you get on a soapbox.
I don't. It's been a long time since I've had a fucking rant.
Some of these
when
you do, I'm like, oh, okay, really? But every single point that you've made there is absolutely valid.
I tried. I was nervous driving in. I was like, you know, I said I'm going to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I'm probably going to get killed for talking about it. But this is the truth.
Well, it's really interesting. I had a conversation.
The numbers are right here.
Well, similar on a similar issue, I had a conversation with a very influential female figure in the industry this week about representation or underrepresentation of women in the industry and how women are treated. And we had the conversation about the fact that, you know, when you have an issue where it involves women in the industry, you have to be careful that decisions are being made for the right reasons, not for tokenism, because that does not help advance the agenda at all, does not solve the problem. It's just tokenism. And I think this is exactly the same. You have to look at it big picture. You have to look at it context. And again, there are certain... It's like you're trying to do a math sum, and some people don't have all the figures. That end sum is never going to be right. And at the end of the day, like you say, it doesn't matter what they're paid to do a role. They're paid to do a job. And a lot of it is down to box office. They do different
things. Michelle Williams adds prestige to a project. I understand that. But Mark Wahlberg brings people to theaters. I mean, it's just the truth.
People have to look at this in context and
I don't know
not
what to say.
knee-jerk. It doesn't help women. It doesn't help men. It doesn't help the industry.
How much more time do we have in the show?
Oh, you're good. You can keep going.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. I just want to run down a few more things.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Fox canceled its Patty Hearst movie. It was going to star Elle Fanning and Yahya Abdul Mateen. Sorry, Abdul Mateen, right? After Patricia Hearst basically complained that the book that it's based on by Jeffrey Toobin sort of romanticized her abduction and rape and torture, and Fox listened to a survivor of rape and didn't want to sort of make her relive that again with a big movie from James Mangold, the director of Logan. They pulled the plug. Thumbs up or down? Is this sort of when people are like, well, this is my story and you can't have it, like, what do you think of that?
Do you know what?
That's dangerous a little, right?
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think in that there are important stories then that might not be told. I mean, just because stories are horrible, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be told.
I think Fox did the right thing here.
I think they did the right thing. It is a very difficult thing because there are certain things that happen in history. Schindler's List.
Right.
The massacre of the Jews in the Second World War. Horrible. Unbelievably horrible.
Story that needs
to be told. Yeah. I think when it's something that is smaller and personal, I think there is conversations to be had around that, and I think they've made the right decision here. And it's good that they've listened and not gone, F you, we're just going to take the money and have this movie. And then you also avoid the controversy when it comes out. It's important to listen to all the arguments. It really is. So I think they've made the right call here.
I think they did too.
It's not as if it's also a story that hasn't been told before.
You're right.
We know this story.
Especially given the climate, and the fact that Fox is about to get sold to Disney. I understand why Disney would not want that sort of controversy hanging around. I don't know if they played a part in that decision or anything. That said, it is a tricky issue. Because you can't just have all these real life subjects being like, well, this is my story to tell, and that's how we lose so many great stories.
Really good example. I, Tonya is back in the headlines again this week, obviously doing quite well in movie theaters and getting a lot of love.
My issue was that Patricia Hearst was like, I don't want men telling my story, and again, I just have to think we have to be very careful where we say men can't write about women.
Well, we've had
men
this...
can't write female leads. Like, you know,
Yeah,
a lot of men have written the greatest female characters of all time.
Absolutely, and I think also again, and you know, there's the race thing in this as well. I think it's not a case of people can't tell the story or shouldn't tell the story. It will bring a different perspective to a story. So I think we have to be very careful on that front. But I think, again, it's something that has to be listened
and Fox
to.
did,
Yeah.
and
I think they made the right thing.
Les Miserables, there's a new edition coming out from BBC, and I mixed up the roles when it was announced, but Dominic West,
Yes,
David Oyelowo, and Lily Collins, and Olivia Colman as well. They're going to star. Dominic West is going to be
4 of my favorite
Jean
people
Valjean
in the industry as talent.
Yeah,
it's hugely watchable.
Yeah, Lily Collins.
Yeah, I love Lily. She's so. Have you ever had a conversation with her?
Actually, I think I have.
She is
so
lovely. Lovely and so funny. Seriously,
she was
she's
Mirror
really
Mirror,
funny.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I interviewed her for Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cool. I don't know if we need another Les Mis,
Yeah.
but if we were gonna get it, Dominic West and David Oyelowo can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon, Natalie Portman is replacing Reese Witherspoon in Pale Blue Dot, which is Noah Hawley, shaping up to be Noah Hawley's directorial debut.
Yeah.
That's over at Fox as well. That's an astronaut drama. You know how astronauts sort of come back and it's a little bit fucked up because they've seen the world and they've seen basically every single person in the world has been in their eyesight. You know?
Yeah.
So like they just have a whole different perspective on the universe.
Natalie Portman is someone that I think Hollywood tends to occasionally forget about. And she will come out every couple of years and do a film that really gets everybody talking. Whether it's successful or not financially successful is kind of irrelevant. I'd like to see Hollywood using her a bit more. I think she is such a talented actress. She's so unbelievably talented.
I'm looking forward to Annihilation.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's been a lot of drama around that one, but I am looking forward to it.
That's out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, in
Couple of
February.
months. Yeah.
Dakota Johnson and Russell Crowe joining Drew Goddard's Bad Times at the El Royale. Now, this is a funny one because it came out of an interview with Chris Hemsworth, who said he was excited to work with Russell and Dakota on Bad Times.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if the reporter interpreted this or if Chris Hemsworth just mixed up the names, but it went down as Russell Crowe and Dakota Fanning. So then Dakota Fanning's people reached out and said, well, actually, Dakota's not in this movie. And then, I saw the story and decided to run mine, which was about Dakota Johnson actually booking the role. It's something I'd been on since September. Had been holding for quite a while, waiting for that deal to close. But that is a great cast. I mean, Russell Crowe and Jeff Bridges, 2 Oscar winners, a Tony winner in Cynthia Erivo, an up-and-comer in Kaylee Spaney, and then you have Dakota Johnson and Chris Hemsworth. Pretty good cast.
Yeah.
For Drew Goddard's follow-up to
She is
Cabin in the
my
Woods.
second favorite Dakota between North Dakota and South Dakota.
And then Dakota Fanning's 4?
Dakota Fanning is 4.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart booked something called My Own Worst Enemy.
Yep.
I have nothing really to say about it.
I swear to God, I don't think in the last 18 months that we've done this show, there's not a week where either Kevin or Dwayne don't sign a new movie.
Hey, good for them.
I don't know. No, absolutely good for them. I love both of them. They're both hugely watchable and nice people. But they just need a little bit of a rest. Are they going to burn out? I'm a little bit worried.
Kevin Hart's got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, true.
Millie Bobby Brown is going to play Enola Holmes for Legendary. That is Sherlock Holmes' much younger sister.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, why isn't she just playing Sherlock Holmes' daughter?
Yeah.
What is the fucking difference? It's a little girl who solves mysteries, whether she's related by daughter or sister, who gives a shit.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a pretty good role for her. I think that there is a real vacuum for like a Nancy Drew type of thing.
I was going to say, there was talk about doing the Nancy Drew stuff again.
Yeah,
but that
wasn't a good series. It was like, there needs to be a little bit of edge to it, and I think that Millie Bobby Brown sort of has that maturity and can provide that edge. She's also producing it, and she's like 14 years old or something. So
that makes me feel hugely inadequate.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like I'm very, very delighted for her.
I'll tell you, there's a fucking girl who knows her worth. she's Millie Bobby Brown, and I'm gonna get a motherfucking producing credit on that. Yeah.
No, good.
Taraji P. Henson is speaking of producing and starring in this Emmett Till movie.
Yep.
She's gonna play Emmett Till's mother. That's obviously a very important case. They've been trying to tell that one for a while. Mute.
Yes.
Yeah, Duncan Jones
Duncan
is Mute.
Jones is Mute. Is to hit Netflix next month, which is February.
And I would do that because Alexander Skarsgård red hot right now after, you know, Golden Globes wins and Critics' Choice and all this other shit.
When we were watching Commuter, it did remind me how much I love the that movie that Source Code that Duncan Jones did.
Yeah, it's good. Duncan Jones is a solid director.
It's really solid.
I never saw Warcraft, so I can't talk shit about it.
It's not great. It's not awful.
CAA signed Gina Rodriguez and Finn Wolfhard. That's a bit of an industry story, you know, after all the shit that went down at APA. The PGA Award nominees came out, and I felt like they were like the 5 Best Picture. Or no, sorry, this is the DGA Award nominees. The 5. I felt like those were the 5 Best Picture frontrunners. Get Out, Lady Bird, you know, 3 Billboards, Dunkirk, and Shape of Water. There was a little shakeup on the WB lot. Sue Kroll stepped down.
Did see that, yeah.
Toby Emmerich got a little bit more power over there. Interesting, just because Sue Kroll's been such a huge part, you know, of the fabric of that studio. There's a bunch of, you know, men who were accused of doing shit this week.
Another week.
James Franco, Paul Haggis, and Michael Douglas apparently wasn't accused of anything. He got out in front of a story and went straight to Deadline.
Yeah,
man, guys, it is brutal out there.
Can we just talk about Kirk Douglas as well, very briefly?
Why?
Obviously, he was rolled out at the Golden Globes. First of all, I have to say,
this has got to stop.
Yeah,
this has got to stop. He was doing this 5 years ago.
Yeah, but also I just felt it was just so awkward. I just feel that Kirk Douglas, a legend, regardless of stuff that surrounds him, Hollywood legend, I just find it so mildly humiliating when you wheel someone out like that and Kirk can barely speak.
Yeah, no,
it was just really. Can we not do this?
No, I'm 100% with you. 100% with you.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
There was a little bit of breaking news during the show. Barry Jenkins, teaming up with Chadwick Boseman on an international thriller called Expatriate about a 1970s plane hijacking. Barry Jenkins moving into action thriller. It sounds like that's kind of fucking awesome. And the pairing of him and Chadwick sounds really cool.
Do you know why I like that? Because he can do characters really well. And I think action movies, as much as I love the genre, sometimes the characters, Commuter's a great example, not particularly well drawn. They're very sort of two-dimensional. I like the idea of that.
I think that'll do it for the show this week. Is there anything else that I left off?
I don't think so. You're not here for the next 2 weeks.
I'm not. I'm out at Sundance for the next 2 weeks, folks. Simon should be here. Hopefully, he'll find a replacement for me.
Yep. I'm going to be sitting in that seat.
Oh,
I'm going to get someone to sit in this seat.
Getting a promotion.
Look at this.
Anything you want to plug?
I don't think so right now, actually. I've got a Michael Pena interview going up on IGN next week.
All right.
Ahead of 12 Strong.
And where can the good folks find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ShowbizSimon. And I have a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson.
And I'm Jeff Sneider, editor-in-chief of the Tracking Board. Send me all your hate mail there. Tracking-board.com, at the InSneider on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching the Popcorn Talk Network. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
All that stuff. You just met the movie press, folks.
Yeah.
Don't hold it against us.
Have a great week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.